Dan Wilson here, one of the editors of Tamebay, doing one of those weekly roundups. So let's get straight on into the news of what's going on in the world of marketplaces and e-commerce. By far the most talked about story this week on Tamebay is regards to Linworks, and they've earlier in the year they did a survey of users, and one of the things that came back from that was people would really value 24/7 customer support. So they've taken that on board and gone away and come up with a plan. And of course, it means some changes to the fee schedules. Lots of comments on the story on that. It's worth reading, especially if you're using Linworks, because that's a big change you need to be aware of. There's also next week on the 15th a potential Royal Mail strike looming. Post office strike, not Royal Mail. Although there's a Royal Mail one apparently threatened for later in the year. With the post office strike on the 15th, the CWU, the Communication Workers Union, which has got about 3,500 post office staff as members, will be walking out, and they'll be supported by about 700 post office managers who were members of Unite. We'll see what happens there. These things are often called off, aren't they? So it might not happen, but the post office is pretty bullish that it won't affect them. The majority of branches are going to still be open. eBay, in the US, sellers are getting a little bit narked because eBay has updated the minimum requirements of the delivery expectations for first class and priority mail express sent by USPS. It's going to give sellers quite hard work to meet those, but that's only in the US. And then there's stacks of stuff from Amazon as usual. Amazon Fresh, which is available to Amazon Prime users, which is a grocery delivery service, that's expanding to 119 new postcodes with immediate effect. That launched in June and it's doing very well. It's roughly doubled its coverage in London. And obviously it comes in like that they're sort of expanding their groceries operations, but Tesco is not. It's retracting, it's retrenching. So interesting times for the grocery business. Also, the so-called brand gating policy on Amazon. Again, this is in the US, which is where if you wanted to sell brands, you had to pay a fee. Sometimes, I think I saw 1,500 quid. So it was $1,500 cited. Amazon have confirmed that that's not going to come to existing merchants. So it's only going to be looking ahead. And also in the States, finally, they've got a new policy whereby anything that's sent that's valued at over $10 has to be tracked. So that's going to make some areas a little bit tricky, where the extra expense isn't really necessarily justified. No news as to whether that's coming to the UK. Who knows? Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Starting the long slog now to Christmas. Kids are back at school. The sun's still shining. And I hope you have a lovely weekend.